Hi everyone. So I'm going to talk about protocol number 4. I'm going to go through each of the goals and talk about each of them and then talk about how I collect data on each one. So with protocol number 4, C will produce S in all position of words given minimal cues with 90% accuracy with 3 consecutive sessions. So with this, I'm going to use articulation cards. And so I would provide 10 trials of each of these word positions. So first I will start off with the initial S, and how I would first teach the S, I'll make sure that we want to make it a sneaky S, like a S. We're going to sound like a snake. S. You do it. S. And if they're still having trouble with like the S feeling of the tactile or cues, I will provide, this can be Play-Doh or it could be like an actual like worksheet of a snake, and they just trace their finger around the snake. Where here they can trace yeah. So giving them a visual or tactile cues is good with the sound, and it gets them energetic because sometimes S can be difficult with many kids and such. And so you can use articulation cards or you can use games on the iPad. And so this is articulation games. It was pretty pricey, but it is a good tool to use because it has all the sounds that speech therapists and speech therapy assistants use during therapy. So this game has flashcards, matching games, a wheel, and a spinner. And so it's mostly energetic for the kids. Kids love seeing the iPad out because they're like, oh, we get to play. But really they're doing their sounds. So it's like you're playing and also doing your sounds. They're being engaged with this. And so I'm going to show you like what this app has. It has all the sounds. And so we're going to work on the S. And so it basically has word, phrases, and sentences, and initial, medial, and final. So like I said before, we're going to work on 10 each. And so I'm going to start off with initial, and then final, and then medial. That's how the word order I'll go into. Initial could be easier, or final could be easier for them. So it's basically seeing the baseline of which one's easier for them. And so since this goal is in minimal cues, basically is saying like they're mastering it, only they're just needing minimal assistance. So how I would go about this is that quickly would give a baseline data of all of them. So like initial 10 words real quick, see how they go with initial. 10 words for final, see how they go. 10 words for medial, see how they go with no interventions given. And then based on that data, I would focus on which one they had more difficult with, whether it being medial, initial, or final, and go off on that. So, and then the second goal is C will produce S in all sentences given minimal cues. So with this one, you can provide a book that has S sounds in all the words in those sentences. And there's some books that have it. You have to like look it up. I don't have a book that has the S. I have S Blends book, but working on S in all positions, blends isn't a good concept unless they're like actually working on blends at the time. But if they're not working on it, I wouldn't go for it because blends are confusing for a lot of kids. But I would provide books that would be good for sentences, or also you can use like these articulation cards and you can hide it around the room. And it's like the kid will go around the room, they love hide and seek. They find the word and they're like, oh, I found grass. What did you find? I found grass. Where do you find grass? I find grass outside. And so that's a sentence. I find grass outside. And so basically you can count the outside one too, because he produced the S in the outside too. So it gives a visual process. So C will produce SH, the quiet sound, sh, in all positions given minimal cues. So with this one, I would provide articulation cards. And like I said with S, you can go from initial, final, medial, or actually providing a baseline data, see where they're at, and go off of that. And with giving minimal cues, you can provide the visual of the shh, the quiet sound. Or if they're really having a hard time with shh, you can provide tactile or kinesthetic of pushing out the air. Push, push, push. But since they're at minimal cues, they should be able to produce the sh sound. But if they're having difficulty and they are at the articulation hierarchy, that since they're at the word position, it may turn out that they need to go back to syllable or isolation. And if that needs to happen, providing visual and tactile and kinesthetic cues of psh. So that's scaffolding down. So scaffolding up, since they're at the word position, going off to sentences. And when you're in sentences, giving them free range of like playing hide and seek. Putting these words in a box and having them pull out random ones in the box. And it's like, ooh, I found tissues. Or something like that. Making it fun, making it energetic, but also like working on their sounds. So yeah, I'll provide baseline data, auditory bombardment on all these, visual, tactile cues, whichever they need assistance for, scaffolding down if they need to scaffold down to get to the sound of producing the sh, psh, or making the S. So scaffolding down to that, or scaffolding up to like sentences to conversation, however they need to scaffold up to. And then also providing positive corrective feedback. It is very important that you provide positive corrective feedback, whether that being clapping, high-fiving, giving them a toy while they play, giving them Play-Doh to play with while they say 5 words, you get Play-Doh for doing a great job, or such and such. Playing hide and seek is very energetic for the kids. It gets them moving and finding things and staying on task. Sorry. So yeah, that's what I would do. So I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, let me know. Thank you.